Jayne, one of the most creative, spontaneous and educative pioneers that the Overwatch scene have ever seen before. Once, Jayne was pulling around 2 million views per month before 2019, and God knows how many more views back in 2018 before he joined the Dallas Fuel, but now, unfortunately, Jayne is struggling to pull past 50,000 views a month, meaning he's declined by almost 98%. So what has actually happened to cause Jayne's downfall, and most importantly, will he ever return? The journey starts in December 2017. The YouTube channel that we now know as Jayne was created. Jayne started off by uploading some of his old Twitch coaching VODs, which started to quickly gain traction considering that there weren't many Overwatch educators around back then, and the esports scene at the end of 2017 and start of 2018 was only just getting started. Fast forward a few months to mid-June, and Jayne had been signed as co-head coach to lead Team Canada. This PR also probably helped Jayne to secure a place as assistant coach on the Dallas Fuel on the 25th of July 2018, a move that had mixed community reactions, but was leaning towards the more optimistic side as shown by creators such as King Michael back then, due to Jayne's work ethic and public back catalogue of Overwatch coaching. However, as you probably already know, this move certainly didn't come without its fair share of bumps and bruises for Jayne. In mid to late 2018, during the off-season and after his signing with the Dallas Fuel, things were actually looking pretty good for Jayne, having tens of thousands of followers, exploding his Twitch following and public name, and whilst I can't show Jayne's YouTube analytics before April 2019, it's safe to assume that Jayne was comfortably getting millions of views a month back then in 2018. Jayne had also helped Team Canada secure a very solid third place in the 2018 Overwatch World Cup, including coaches like Sword, who coached alongside Jayne and who I of course publicly endorse, and obviously coaching the biggest streamer on Twitch, Xqc, who also played in that team with Jayne as well. So mid to late 2018 is probably what most think of as the peak of Jayne, so to say, the golden years. And one of the key videos at this time was Jayne reacting to Seagull's The State of Overwatch video with Seagull himself alongside Sure4 and Xqc. However, as I alluded to earlier, there's a lot that happened in the following year. Perhaps the Jayne vs Halo drama in April of 2019 is a good place to start. This situation is a whole lot more messy than I thought it would be, so I'm just going to briefly explain it. Essentially, Halo, who is an esports journalist, most known for reporting on Overwatch leaks, dissed the Dallas Fuel and Envy, who owned the Dallas Fuel, saying that Envy's coaching staff had told management that a player called Fisher leaked the Boston Uprising and Valiant trade, and as a result, Envy released Fisher on April the 2nd. However, Halo himself alluded that the coaching staff themselves were actually responsible for the leak and not Fisher. Jayne responded to Halo's article saying that it was a biased, unprofessional piece of drivel, a red flag, and had little evidence to support the claims Halo was making. So that was Jayne's part of the Halo fiasco. Fast forward a few months to July of 2019, Jayne told on stream that the incident I had just described prompted Halo to make up a bunch of false claims about Jayne having bad relationships with players and being moved from a coach to a content creator. Here's the clip.
Obviously gonna leak, and if it's gonna leak from somewhere, it's gonna be leaking from Halo because the dude has like no ethics. So yeah, in my mind, probably.
Whoa! Hold up. Why do you say he has no ethics? Come on.
Okay. You want me to just like jump right to it?
Yeah, just jump right into it, huh?
During the middle of the Fisher scandal, when I stood up for Team Envy over the Fisher shenanigans, Halo spread a rumor through back channels, basically that I was incompetent at my job, and that the players didn't trust me, and that I was being moved to content creation.
Wait, that's a rumor?
Yeah.
I've heard that rumor. I've heard that rumor from people.
Multiple people contacted me about that.
Holy shit.
Well then. That Halo guy is up to no good, huh?
From there on, Jayne and Halo beefed on Twitter, with Halo saying, "Hey Jayne, I think you may need to check who you listen to, as I don't have the time to focus on mediocre assistant coaches whose only claim to success is a World Cup third place because Xqc was around to save him. If I did, I'd have actually taken time to write about it." Halo received a reply mocking and satirizing his tweets. Halo had also tweeted that he has no personal crusade against Jayne, with Jayne and Halo further going back and forth in the replies. The reason why I'm bringing this drama up again is because I want to show you that one of the reasons to Jayne's downfall is with the tarnishing of his reputation in the public eye and privately behind closed doors. There was one moment that regained the spirit from Jayne, but overall, his reputation as a coach and even as a figure in the community just kinda dissipated, especially when we get into 2020 and 2021. However, back to Jayne on the Dallas Fuel. The optimism that people had for the Fuel at the start of the season was gradually dying, with the Fuel once again performing significantly lower than expectations. They ended up finishing 15th place, which isn't a good look on the start for the Dallas Fuel. Combined with the trash talk and BM that Jayne was giving and taking, people didn't really give him the benefit of the doubt. Here's Super back in March of 2019, speaking about the Dallas Fuel coaches.
You know what's funny? The Dallas coaches, they're gonna go on Twitter, they're gonna think they're hot. I was really hoping Boston wins, just so so I can see them get knocked down a pedestal. Just because I know what they're capable of, and I'm gonna tell you something, buddy. It's not much. It's really not much.
Serious or not, the BM and public consensus around the Fuel staff wasn't very positive, and so much so that we get to a very big turning point to Jayne, his July 14th tweet. On July 14th, 2019, after Stage 3 had ended, Jayne had posted this tweet longer going into great emotional detail about his time with the Fuel, the backlash he got, the blending of Elo Hell esports into Jayne's professional career on the Dallas Fuel, and his acknowledgement about the deterioration in his credibility and the community's trust in him. The tweet longer is now deleted, but a link to the web archive will be in the description. I think it's really worth giving it a read because of how emotionally raw it is. I actually managed to read it way back in 2019 when the tweet wasn't deleted on July 14th, when I was 14 years old, and it almost made me cry to see something so emotional from a guy I really looked up to. On a bit of a side note, for reference, Elo Hell esports was a community that Jayne started back in 2017 just to help people get out of quote-unquote Elo Hell, but Elo Hell soon and quickly bloomed into a tournament hosting esports community. Elo Hell did have some public backlash with regards to properly paying tournament winners, but that was cleared up by Jayne. The more damning stuff about Elo Hell esports was the severe underpayment of staff in 2019 and 2020, which Overwatch caster Andrew Rush, also known as ZP, and Mitch Leslie, also known as Uber, brought up in March of 2021, alongside a post that blew up on Reddit with regards to one of the tournaments hosted by Elo Hell. Jayne probably didn't have much to do with this, and it's probably guilty by association, but again, it's not a great look. After Jayne had posted his tweet longer, he took a break from social media and from coaching the Dallas Fuel in Stage 4. He returned to Twitch about late August to early September of 2019, which garnered a lot of attention, mostly positive of course. Unfortunately, I can't find that VOD on Twitch, but someone in the comments did a nice too long didn't watch. Jayne revealed that he may be diagnosed with bipolar 2, he said that he was going to stay with Dallas, he details his anxiety attacks, he wants to focus on content that he wants to make. Almost 2,000 people have sent messages of support to Jayne after his tweet on the 14th of July, and he also wants to ignore the 10% of haters, alongside having no regrets about the year, calling it transformative. Jayne did upload a segment of that Twitch VOD onto his YouTube titled The Future, but that video was taken down by Jayne himself. However, there is one web archive page which managed to save the video, and I'll play a short segment of it. Please do be warned that it does get emotional, so do feel free to skip ahead to this point in the video if you don't want to see the clip.
Considering the amount of talent that we have on the Dallas Fuel, there's no reason that we should be going on such a large loss streak. I held it together through Stage 3, and then I couldn't handle Stage 4. So I took a break, and I didn't get to finish out the season, which is going to be a disappointment to me for a long time. Yep. But no, Mike, Tasmo, Arrow, are very understanding and helpful people, and got me in contact with the sports psychologist who helped me figure out a lot of things about myself and my life that I hadn't realized or known before. Like, one of the reasons why I couldn't finish out Stage 4 with the team is just because I was having anxiety attacks. I was completely aware, and it was like, why are you doing this? Stop, please. I need to work. I need to help. I need to help the Fuel win games, please. Please stop.
After the stream, things were pretty quiet up until 2.5 months later, where, on November the 15th, 2019, Jayne leaves the Dallas Fuel to pursue personal and org-based content creation for Envy. The general public response was very positive, with people like Samito saying, "Good stuff dude, you raised the standard in the Overwatch community for content creation, no doubt you'll do it for the whole industry moving forward. Keep at it and best of luck." Just 11 days later, on November the 26th, Jayne would appear to have gotten himself into more drama, particularly with Chipsa. For a quick rundown, the Philadelphia Fusion had signed Overwatch streamer and Doomfist specialist Chipsa onto their team as a player, and Jayne had hinted at the Fusion signing Chipsa for reasons of nepotism, since Chipsa's brother, Christopher, was on the Fusion as a coach. Jayne wanted some more elaboration on why the Fusion picked up Chipsa over more experienced and deserving individuals in Tier 2. Danteh, the current DPS player for the Outlaws, replied by saying, "Can you explain parts of your roster when there are some more deserving individuals?" Jayne replied by saying, "Our pickups don't undermine the path to pro and spit in the face of individuals who actually grind for this opportunity." Danteh replied by saying, "What about Team Canada? Players like Mufin, Akawa, Isaiah, Akadia all grinded Tier 2 really hard and could have had the chance to make a name for themselves on the big stage, but you decided to go with the more marketable players." XQC then chipped in by saying, "That's a zero IQ take. The whole point of getting marketable players is to sell something, except no one has anything to gain from playing in World Cup except marketing themselves to be scouted. Jayne would look 10 times better by winning, so why would he choose marketable players?" Essentially, Danteh was trying to point out Jayne's hypocrisy, but might not have used the best example. The general public opinion was against Jayne, and after having some private conversations myself with people higher up in the scene, they were also against Jayne due to his hypocrisy of calling out Chipsa for reaching the Overwatch League because he's popular, even though some say Jayne did that himself. After Jayne's tweet, he made a quick 12-minute live video on Twitter going into more detail and using the Chipsa example to more broadly speak about nepotism, but Chipsa himself actually responded. Here's a segment of that taken from my Overwatch iceberg.
There's so many tier 2 players that aren't paid. There's guys that are sacrificing so much to try and get a chance to go professional. And playing hard, winning tournaments, getting results, and they're not getting these positions. So yeah.
And this is my fault? He's literally
they don't really even take
complaining about exactly what he got his career to do.
Those guys kind of
his career was based off the fact that he coached plat players to Diamond, and he got picked up to an Overwatch League team as a coach. Like, what's the difference?
After this, Jayne decided to make some more tweets critiquing esports as a whole, generating the infamous clip and meme of Caster Bren saying that Jayne's gonna invent esports. Here's the clip yet again taken from my iceberg.
52 seconds ago, esports is the future, but it's not going to invent itself. Jayne is going to invent esports! What? Are you kidding me?
Yo, Pog!
After this clip was shown, Jayne got into a Discord call with Sideshow to more broadly speak about the unfairness of esports as a whole, specifically with regards to the tier 2 Overwatch scene. The next thing to pick up on is Jayne joining Facebook Gaming, which happened on January the 18th, 2020. The general response to this was pretty negative, with a Reddit comment with over 1,000 upvotes saying, "Finally, my grandma can watch pro Overwatch analysis content with me." Something that made the Facebook Gaming deal an even bigger blow to Jayne was not just the reduced numbers that a site like Facebook would bring, especially considering that Jayne already had over 100k plus followers on Twitch, but the reasons for Jayne joining Facebook Gaming was primarily just money. Now it's fine that Jayne is just chasing the bag, but just 6 months ago, back in his July 14th tweet, he was saying how money didn't really matter to him. Even in that September comeback stream, he mentioned how money wasn't really a big priority for him, so some might say that this looked a bit disingenuous for Jayne and was only really a short-term move. Aside from that, 2020 was a pretty quiet year for Jayne, and whilst he maybe couldn't reach the days of late 2018, he was far from falling off. His focus on content creation really showed off, and whilst his Twitch took a hit, he was pulling some respectable numbers on YouTube throughout 2020. It was only in late September 2020 when Jayne returned back to Twitch from Facebook Gaming to start what was called the Jayne Show. The production quality on the Jayne Show was super high, and it honestly kind of felt like the good old days. Even during this time period of late 2020, where Jayne was looking to make a comeback in content creation, he did multiple collabs with SVB in his Great Debate series, which all performed pretty well. However, this unfortunately didn't last forever, as it appears that if something's too good to be true, it often is. Jayne had officially left Elo Hell Esports on November the 14th, 2020 to join Envy as a content creator alongside Avast, and the last iteration of the Jayne Show was on the 17th of November 2020. Only 11 days later, on November the 28th, Jayne announced the hiatus of the Jayne Show, posting a now deleted blog post on jayne.gg, going into detail on why he terminated the show and more details about the Facebook contract. In short, Jayne couldn't really talk about his experience with Facebook Gaming due to the scary NDAs, and Jayne terminated the Jayne Show for 3 main reasons. First off, the financial model was unethical in Jayne's eyes. Secondly, Jayne's production team was being split across too many different projects. And thirdly, Jayne's personal motivations didn't really line up with the Jayne Show. At the bottom of the post, Jayne actually put a backup of his July 14th tweet confirming that he did indeed have type 2 bipolar and it wasn't on the fence anymore, and he also made that tweet during a manic episode. So what happens next? Well, in Jayne's blog post, he said that he was essentially at square one and that he had a few projects that were very early in the planning phase. One of the projects, I presume, was a company that Jayne founded in November 2020 called Metaverse Industries. Now don't worry, this has nothing to do with Mark Zuckerberg and the Metaverse, and was actually something completely different. Metaverse Industries was a production and management agency for online influencers, whatever that means. However, Metaverse Industries didn't last very long, and I assume it was shut down in April 2021 according to Jayne's LinkedIn, probably because they couldn't hire the people they needed, and I assume salaries for a startup project like this would be a struggle to fund. Again, the link to the Metaverse Industries website is unavailable, so I am using the Wayback Machine. Weirdly enough though, their Twitter account is still up as of making this video. Perhaps Jayne just forgot to deactivate the account. However, despite this project not turning out too well, Jayne was still supposedly a content creator for Envy, even though I can't find any videos of him in early 2021 doing stuff with Envy specifically, and he ended up leaving the organisation on the 7th of May 2021. Another project that Jayne could have been alluding to is just pursuing personal content creation, and this would align with how consistently Jayne was pumping out videos in early 2021, although none of them would reach the peaks of Jayne back in 2020 or the golden years in 2018. The penultimate project that Jayne was publicly working on was Pico Overwatch. Pico Overwatch was a coaching organisation run by professional coaches such as Aero, Gunther, Cxdy, and Jayne himself. However, the model was unsustainable and Pico closed its doors in October 2021. However, the org was struggling months prior. Luckily, I managed to catch this screenshot of a town hall Discord call way back in early July of 2021 that Jayne and the group had discussing the future of Pico Overwatch. The final project Jayne was working on was something about an augmented reality game. I honestly don't know much about this, aside from a beta of the game being released in late August to early September, as it was just in a somewhat personal Discord server Jayne had made. Apart from that, Jayne has gone MIA to be quite frank. The last thing he's tweeted, or rather retweeted, is just a bunch of crypto garbage and surface level motivation as of October the 20th, 2021. His private Twitter account is, well, private, so I don't know if he's active on that, so do let me know if you have seen any public activity on Jayne at all. He hasn't been live on Twitch since mid-July, his last YouTube video was 10 months ago, his last Instagram post was 14 months ago, his last Discord message was on September the 28th, and his TikTok has been deleted. Right now, as of making this video, Jayne, according to his LinkedIn, has been working as a strategic partner for a company called Meta Group for the last 8 months, and hasn't really publicly announced this at all. For those who don't know what Meta Group is about, which is every single one of you watching this video, they describe themselves as combining venture capital fund management, entrepreneurial mentoring, and innovation consultancy to transform knowledge into growth. And honestly, if you think about it, you can understand why Jayne took this job. Back in his blog post about why he stopped the Jayne Show, he mentioned that one of his personal motivations is that he wants to help people and organizations into achieving more than they ever thought possible. And this seems to align with that school of thought, you know, transforming knowledge into growth, mentoring and consulting, so I don't think it's too surprising that Jayne just kinda took up this job. So, in conclusion, what really caused the fall of Jayne? Well, who's to say that Jayne has fallen? He's probably doing the job that he enjoys doing and making decent money doing so, and I think that content creation and the Overwatch League have given him tons of experience and insight about himself to put Jayne on the right path of what he wants to do. But that reasoning also has a pretty damning implication, and it's that Jayne will probably never be returning to content creation anytime soon. If he's found a job that he's happy doing, what's the incentive of going back? If content creation was just a means to an end, why would he go back to those means if he's already at the end? But my reasoning could certainly be wrong. A clear pattern with Jayne, and it was kind of a eureka moment at the time of writing the script, was that anything Jayne did was never fully developed. The augmented reality game, or ARG, was never fully developed. Pico Overwatch was never fully developed. Metaverse Industries was never fully developed. His coaching ability was never fully developed to be in the Overwatch League. The Jayne Show was never fully developed to be a long-term sustainable idea. His time at Envy was never fully developed. So, if you had to tell me what was the turning point for Jayne, I'd say it's him joining the Dallas Fuel. If Jayne had never went to the Fuel, he could have fully developed as a content creator and he could still be here now. Although, on the flip side, Jayne might not have found out that he was bipolar and he would have gained significantly less knowledge about himself, so it's really a double-edged sword, a true butterfly effect of events. So, with that all being said, I do want to end off this video with some good old nostalgia and a quick blast of the past. Take it away, Logic.
Amen. 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 We make plans and God laughs. Feel like the